Greetings! The Artemis pre-countdown mission management meeting was still in progress as we produced this broadcast. We will present the results of the meeting in a subsequent video. At this time, the weather forecast for the potential Saturday launch attempt of the Big Orange rocket has improved. Important and satisfying news from Mars as the MOXIE oxygen generation experiment on our rover Percy has successfully demonstrated the production of the life-giving gas and rocket oxidizer on 7 runs since landing in February 2021. This marks the first serious demonstration of ISRU, in situ resource utilization, technologies that are essential to Martian exploration and potential habitation. The success came in a variety of atmospheric conditions, including during the day and night and through different Martian seasons. In each run, the breadbox-size instrument reached its target of producing 6 grams of oxygen per hour, about the rate of a modest tree on Earth. Quote, "We have learned a tremendous amount that will inform future systems at a larger scale," says Michael Hecht, principal investigator at MIT's Haystack Observatory. The experiment, with the full name of Mars Oxygen In Situ Resource Utilization Experiment, was developed by MIT and JPL and features hero astronaut Jeff Hoffman as deputy principal investigator. Hoffman, you may recall, is an astrophysicist who made 5 shuttle flights, including the first Hubble repair mission in 1993. Researchers say that a scaled-up version sent to Mars ahead of a human mission could continuously produce oxygen at the rate of several hundred trees. At that capacity, the system should generate enough to both sustain humans and fuel their return rocket. MOXIE is small by design and is built to run for short periods. It converts the Mars atmosphere into pure oxygen by first drawing air through a contaminant filter. The air is then pressurized and sent through the solid oxide electrolyzer, SOXE, an instrument developed and built by Oxyon Energy that electrochemically splits the carbon dioxide-rich air into oxygen ions and carbon monoxide. The oxygen ions are then isolated and recombined to form breathable oxygen, which MOXIE then measures for quantity and purity before releasing it along with carbon monoxide and other gases. Hoffman notes that the atmosphere of Mars is far more variable than Earth, and its density can vary by a factor of 2 throughout the year, and the temperature can vary by 100 degrees. So far, MOXIE has shown that it can make oxygen at almost any time of the Martian day and year. Upcoming tests include demonstration that the process will work at dawn or dusk, and push its production to the max in the Martian spring when atmospheric density and carbon dioxide levels are high. If MOXIE can operate successfully despite repeatedly turning on and off, this would suggest that a full-scale system designed to run continuously could do so for thousands of hours. Quote, "To support a human mission to Mars, we have to bring a lot of stuff from Earth," Hoffman says. But dumb old oxygen? If you can make it there, go for it. You're way ahead of the game. We're bursting with Webb news today. First up is the just-released image of an exoplanet, the first imaged by our just wonderful space telescope. It's a gas giant shown through 4 different filters. HIP 65426b is about 6 to 12 times the mass of Jupiter, and these observations could help narrow that down. It is young as planets go, about 15 to 20 million years old. It was discovered in 2017 using the SPHERE instrument on the European Southern Observatory's Very Large Telescope in Chile. Researchers have been analyzing the data from these observations and are preparing a paper they will submit to journals for peer review. But Webb's first capture of an exoplanet already hints at future possibilities for studying distant worlds. Since HIP 65426b is about 100 times farther from its host star than Earth is from the Sun, it is sufficiently distant from the star that Webb can easily separate the planet from the star in the image. Webb's near-infrared camera, NIRCam, and mid-infrared instrument, MIRI, are both equipped with coronagraphs. The planet is more than 10,000 times fainter than its host star in the near-infrared, and a few thousand times fainter in the mid-infrared. In each filter image, the planet appears as a slightly differently shaped blob of light. That is because of the particulars of Webb's optical system and how it translates light through the different optics. While this is not the first direct image of an exoplanet taken from space, the Hubble Space Telescope has captured direct images. It points the way forward for Webb's exoplanet exploration.
William Ballmer, PhD student astronomer at Johns Hopkins University, showed these images of the exoplanet on Twitter. He writes, "It was really wonderful to get to work on the first image on an exoplanet from JWST. Here's my own reduction of the data and 3-color image processing. You can see the color difference between the background stars hot and blue and the planet cool and white. The labeled image identifies the masked star, the planet, and some background stars in the upper right."
NASA released 6 so-called sonifications of the first Webb release images. They are not actual sounds from space, but carefully composed music used to represent details the composer team would like listeners to focus on. NASA says that they are like abstract paintings, converting the images to a new medium to engage and inspire listeners. Here are the sonifications. In climate news, greenhouse gas concentrations, global sea levels, and ocean heat content reached record highs in 2021, according to the 32nd Annual State of the Climate Report. The international annual review, led by scientists from NOAA's National Centers for Environmental Information, is based on contributions from more than 530 scientists in over 60 countries. NOAA Administrator Rick Spinrad said, quote, "The data presented in this report are clear. We continue to see more compelling scientific evidence that climate change has global impacts and shows no sign of slowing. With many communities hit with 1,000-year floods, exceptional drought, and historic heat this year, it shows that the climate crisis is not a future threat, but something we must address today." Carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide rose once again to new record highs during 2021. CO2 is at the highest in at least the last million years based on paleoclimatic records. The annual average atmospheric methane concentration was also the highest on record, and the annual increase of 18 parts per billion was the highest since measurements began. The increase in methane has significantly accelerated since 2014. Ocean heat and global sea level were the highest on record. For the 10th consecutive year, global average sea level rose to a new record high and was about 3.8 inches higher than the 1993 average, the year that marks the beginning of the satellite measurement record. Just added to the public schedule of the ISS yesterday, NASA TV will show a Russian spacewalk on Friday, featuring Expedition 67 Commander Oleg Artemyev and flight engineer Denis Medvedev. The primary objectives of the spacewalk are to relocate an external control panel for the European robotic arm and test a rigidizing mechanism that will be used to facilitate the grasping of payloads. Friday's spacewalk will complete unfinished tasks from a spacewalk on August 17th, which was cut short after Artemyev's spacesuit showed abnormal battery readings about 2 hours and 17 minutes into the EVA. They completed the installation of a pair of cameras and removed parts attached to the arm's end effector. Russian space expert Anatoly Zak, who runs the informative Russian SpaceWebb.com website, reports that a prominent Russian space journalist, Ivan Safronov, has died after mysteriously falling from his apartment building window. His death came as he was working on a story about Russian arms dealings. This news, as we learn that the rich and powerful in Russia can also suffer from what some call gravitation disease. The chairman of the oil company Lukoil seems to have fallen to his death from a hospital window in Moscow. Perhaps the Russians should consider an urgent program to secure windows in tall buildings before any more suspicious deaths occur. 2 stories about space station crew contracts. NASA has awarded 5 additional Crew Dragon missions to SpaceX. It brings the total missions for SpaceX to 14 and allows NASA to maintain uninterrupted U.S. human access until 2030. The award covers crew missions 10 through 14 for a price of $1.4 billion, about $70 million per seat. It brings the SpaceX crew total to $4.9 billion. 6 flights are contracted to Boeing for Starliner at this time, for a total of 20 missions. NASA also completed the anticipated deal with Axiom for their second private ISS flight called a PAM, or Private Astronaut Mission. The current schedule calls for launch in the second quarter of 2023. Mission commander will be NASA veteran astronaut Peggy Whitson, and the pilot will be customer John Schaffner, a sportsman airshow pilot and Nürburgring 24-hour race car driver, with a best result of 3rd in the Pro-Am category for the 2020 race. The crew will operate a single-cell genome sequencing experiment. For your Friday, you can celebrate National Blueberry Popsicle Day. And that's the way space is today. Until tomorrow, ad in explorata toward the unknown in the measureless arena of space. Stay tough and competent, and thanks for watching.
Despite a rise in the Dow of 146 points, most of the space stocks on our watch list were down. Planet Labs took a drubbing, down almost 8%. The company reported a larger loss than expected on Tuesday night, although sales were higher than analyst estimates. Sales are up, with Planet saying it has over 800 customers for its Earth image products. The winners were mainly old guard giants Teledyne, Lockmart, Northrop Grumman, and L3 Harris. Reporting from cyberspace, this is correspondent Karen Calvis.